Okay, so now it's time to add a real component to our freeform application. So instead of just some boring text content, we want to put in an input field of some sort that we can interact with. So to do that, I'm going to actually take my page, session2 container, and I'm going to use that as a starting point. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to take that entire page, and I am going to duplicate it into my working area here. And then I'm going to go and edit this page, and I'm going to change the name on it from session2 containers to session3 components. All right, and I'll do the same thing I did before, so just good practice here to set up a headline, and I'm going to save that. All right, so now I know inside of this I have a dashboard. That's going to be a working dashboard that I can use. I've got this thing that's got some HTML in it, but I'm not really interested in the HTML anymore, so I'm going to throw that away. So I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to clear out my clipboard. All right, so now I'm going to create a new component. Now a component in Itrium is a thing called a gizmo. All right, and so to do that, I typically work directly on the dashboard. I like to go into edit because I'm usually adding multiple things here, and I can also see my grid spec and how things are going to work. But for the time being, I'm just going to go to the Contents tab, and I'm going to add a gizmo. Now this is the same procedure had I just gone directly to the dashboard and used the new item list to create a new gizmo, right? But now I'm in a spot while I'm in edit under the dashboard where I can create multiple things at one time. And so I've got a gizmo, and a gizmo is a content element, again, just like everything else in Itrium. And it's going to have a name, and it's going to have some kind of characteristics. Now, the difference about gizmos and all other content elements is that you can configure the gizmo to work like any of these features, right? So these are all the features that are available in freeform, and they're all categorized based on the type of feature they are. So we're going to start with input gizmos, right? And I'm going to go look through my list here, and I'm going to start with probably the most simple input gizmo, which is an input string. So this is a gizmo that's used to enter a text string. And so I'm going to load it. So you select the configuration, load it, and then you have a place where you can set up some information about it. So components in Itrium. You can name them any way you want, but you're going to reference these names later in your application. So our standard is to name everything starting with a G and then something useful. So I'm going to say G name. And this is going to be my component for collecting the person's name. And then I'm going to put a label on it, and that's it. So now I've got a component in my dashboard. I can save it, and now I can return to my site, and when I go to session development, session 3 components, now you can see I've got a component that has a name and a field. And I'm going to talk about this layout next. Okay, so right now it looks like you've got this label sitting way over here in space in the form field over here to the right. I'll tell you how to address that in a minute, and then we'll move on to next session, which is gizmo layout.